there's a common misconception, I think, somatically at least. I don't think it's conscious generally, which is that if you forgive someone, that's saying what they did was okay or what happened was okay. But you can forgive. I say to people, like, you forgive for yourself, not for other people. Like, you're not letting someone else off the hook. You're letting yourself off the hook you're holding them to.
The forgiveness thing is so, and again, it's been moralized and it's been weaponized. And I remember in the cult being told, if you don't forgive, God will destroy you. And it's like, oh crap. Well, I don't want to forgive.
I forgive.
And
Totally
that's what
authentic.
people do. Totally real talk. I forgive. I think I agree with you. I also think that the concept of forgiveness, as we understand it, is not the right concept. Because if you're talking duality, right, we've got forgiveness, which indicates there's blame. Like if there's no blame, there's no need for forgiveness. And if there's so if you, again, this is a very Jungian concept of like the third path. So rather than focusing on either blame or forgiveness, if you focus on healing, you come to a place where both are irrelevant. Like if you ask me, do I forgive the people who sexually assaulted me? It's like that concept doesn't even make sense to me anymore because I don't blame myself. I don't blame them. I don't forgive that. It's just not it doesn't make sense as a concept anymore. You make the whole dilemma irrelevant and it becomes something else completely. So I think a lot of people shame themselves and berate themselves in their effort to forgive when it's like, we got to put so much you into the you tank that this situation becomes so much less relevant that it's just not a thing.
What a powerful reframe to go from like, how do I figure out how to not hold blame and I got to forgive? And of course, the parts of us are like, fuck that, fuck them, fuck this. But to actually not even do that, like to move towards this place of healing where you're not thinking about having to make these choices or do this task that isn't even actually, when you say it, that's actually not the task, which is really, that's powerful. What truth did you know that you didn't want to accept?
My sexual abuse as a child. I pushed against that one. I blocked it out. I repressed. I projected. I did all the Freudian classic defense mechanisms. I was just not okay with that being my truth. So I outsourced it and I found partners to, represent perpetrators and all the things that happen with that. But I really did not want to know that my childhood was not good because I actually thought I had a good childhood. Bless my little heart. Until I was in my mid-20s where a therapist was like, Britt, honey, no, like that's not normal because I never talked about it.
What was the moment when you actually like felt that truth come forward and be held, like you could hold it?
Again, I wish I had here was the insight, but it was, can I go? Okay, trigger warning. I'm going to talk about a graphic situation. It was later on, it was during the sex meth addiction mess. And we had my partner at the time, we'd gotten into a huge fight. And it got to the point where had he not passed out, I would have not survived. There was strangulation, trauma, the whole mess. And I remember, and this was the moment where I left that relationship. And I'm like, I picked him because of them. I knew enough to know no choice gets made in a vacuum. And it was he made sense to me. And again, this wasn't a conscious, let me sit here and journal and meditate. I was dragging myself to the door going, holy crap, I picked him because of them. And all of the things that were going on in this and other relationships like this, and the repetition of the behaviors were because it was familiar. And that was when I was like, oh no. Yes.
So because you were talking you haven't met a person that the world wasn't burning, that they've then figured that was one of your yeses to get to that door, to walk out that door in that relationship. What a shift. Was that a monumental shift for discernment, the recognition of self and power and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it wasn't linear, but if I had to pick a pivot point, it was walking out that door. And it was, okay, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to address all of the things about me that I'm terrified. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to share about it. I'm going to feel about it. I will do whatever I need. And again, I was fortunate that I had access to really good help. There's a place in Arizona called the Meadows, and I was able to go get some treatment there. And they are like the mothership for all things somatic and internal family systems and trauma. And I don't think I would have, like, that was a lamppost place for me. And then from there, I was able to take a few more steps and cobble together my life. And then, once the thing about getting healthy and happy that no one tells you is all your friends go away, because people that benefited from your less than optimized self don't celebrate with you when you start to get healthy and happy. So I had to burn down what was left standing. Not everyone needs to do that. Mine is kind of fringe like that. But I burned everything to the ground and started over. And it was humbling and it was awful. And it was like waiting tables and, selling things so I could eat and figuring out, again, whatever. It was like, fine, I will do whatever I need to do and whatever is available to me. And I was, again, fortunate that I could. Not everyone can.